All right. So I guess for our, I guess we could do an agenda. Oh, there's a question. I apologize.
Yeah. How does the privilege check signal interactive process? Like, how are we going to interpret that? Does it break stacks? Throwing it to say something? Then I see problem with that.
Okay, let's leave it up.
Yeah, maybe just be like an up or down twinkle where it's just like something that is a sex type that we understand.
I thought it was
Jasmine.
point
That goes before I do.
Brandon.
point of information. In the last working group that we were in with the literature one, it was utilized because the facilitator was about to have to leave due to timing, and so the comment was almost made towards the idea that when the facilitator left it, the discussion had to be over. So someone point privileged it, pointing out that just because the facilitator left at that moment, we could have like reassigned the facilitator and the discussion could keep going. So that was a place where I saw that point of privilege came in real quick, interject and point that out.
Jasmine? I would say that we put it with point of process and clarifying questions so it would jump the stack but not interrupt someone's stack time.
So how do we feel about using it? Everybody good? Right. I mean, this is going to be one hell of an agenda review. We assigned roles, did the respect check.
You don't have to stop what you're talking about. You can finish talking. It's okay.
Oh, I know that.
I was going to suggest something once you got to the actual agenda point.
Okay. Respect check, and then housekeeping, which I guess we don't have anything. Do we?
I don't know. We could ask if there's people from Occupy Gainesville that have things to bring up.
Alright. Consensus review?
Alright.
Oh.
I'm not doing this, so I don't know, but maybe people who are staying again tonight to help clean up tomorrow, if y'all wanna, like, if there's anybody who can help clean.
I'd like to help clean up. I may not stay here.
I can help in the morning. And while I'm talking, I invited people to come out to Guy Grove at 2:30, but I'd like to make it at least 3 because I'd like to stay.
Were you done, Dave?
People have.
Likey? Real quick.
Clarification.
Is that, are we going on the idea that will not get extended, or are we gonna like, cause like giving that 10 minutes and we choose that we could keep extending it, we might find ourselves talking about it for a couple hours too. I was just wondering, are we gonna stick to that 10-minute idea that we're giving it?
Give me more than 10 minutes. I think it needs 20 minutes.
Jasmine, are you trying to get on stack? Or are you twinkling? I'm not twinkling back.
Okay.
I was going to suggest, why don't we go around to the different Occupy and say if we've added anything, if we're just keeping it the same, or if we've done anything to it. And that way we can set up a way to do this later. So I just want to at least get it talked about, so we've been working on this thing for a long time.
Okay, I have a people's plan for 10 minutes. Also, I have, before that, I have report back, but we never set a time. Would 5 minutes work for that?
Clarifying question, point of process.
Yeah, there was a question asked, clarification earlier that was asking if that was 10 minutes non-extendable, and I never felt that got answered definitively.
I mean, that wasn't my sort of proposal for a time thing. Okay. Personally, I don't think like it makes sense for us to try to have a discussion about like, are we gonna stick to 10 minutes, because it's a consensus meeting. We can always revise everything at any time. So might as well just say 10 minutes, see how it goes.
Jen?
Point of process.
Oh. I feel like, I'm not sure if it was clear that we would do report backs before the people's plan discussion. So, I mean, I guess I'm just pointing out that there's really no particular order that we decided to go in.
Oh, I'm writing it down based on what was brought up, and it looked like we had.
Well, I'm saying the people's plan was brought up before the report back. Yeah, it was.
Was it?
Yeah, it
okay.
was in this conversation.
Yeah.
Do we want to do that first? Because right now I have this. So.
I just feel like.
when report backs was brought up, that was probably the most consensus I saw in this GA at the moment. So that's why I think it ended up first, is because like everyone upwinkled that, and we were still having issues deciding who was
Jen, and then Jasmine.
process.
Stop it.
I'm just wondering if we, as just like a way to sort of move us along, like we can just be sort of flexible about this, like just brainstorm some things for this agenda and just be a little bit flexible about it because, you know, and then we can get to the meat of talking about things and not just, I mean, I love talking about talking, but I just feel like, vibes, for our vibes, I'm just like looking out for us that way.
Okay, when we go through check-in, it will be revealed that the women this morning consented on an idea that probably deserves to have a few minutes of conversation on organizing, how it's going to come together. So I would like to create some space here for that.
Like you get. Okay. What's that?
Did you still want to be on staff
No,
from
no.
before? Okay. Brando, did you want to be on staff again? Or
I just I guess bring up back the just make sure we are getting the time under the report backs.
Yeah, how long do we want for report backs? Does 5 minutes sound good? Or do we want more time? I need fingers. Yeah.
10 minutes?
No, we're doing 5.
10? 5? 10?
Can you put some back flowers in her hair?
Oh, I will. I will do some stuff. Oh, flowers in the hair?
Do that.
How long would we like to talk about that? Which is the women's thing. That
13 minutes.
That's a good
Did we really
number.
just consent on 13 minutes?
Yeah.
Alright.
I know Eileen likes that number.
Okay, so far on the agenda, I have report backs for 5 minutes, the People's Plan for 10 minutes, and flowers in the hair, which is the women's thing, for 13.
women's
No,
thing.
I meant the women's worker thing that you guys went over there. You guys were trying to talk about.
Alan, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I heard it was
Might
brought
wanna
up
put
at
it,
the regional GA. I was wondering if the Florida GA wants to discuss Trayvon Martin and racial injustice. You know, pretty big Florida issue right now.
Just to update, that was, I don't know how people feel about it, but I feel like that was discussed as pretty significant, or we at least accomplished something about that last night at the regional GA, so that has been touched on.
Brando, Karen, Tommy.
Maybe I'm proposing then that we decide on just a yes or no to say Occupy Florida supported the thing from SERCO. So it's not that we would necessarily be amending it, but that we are just saying, like, we decide yes or no that Occupy Florida says it supports what SERCO said last night. Just, you know, I get that.
So, do you want to talk about the SERCO statement for like 2 minutes?
30 seconds.
29 seconds.
Is that what you were going to say? Karen,
How
did
did that
you
get
still
on
want to be
there?
It's adding up right now because.
So I'm wondering about, just curious about like direct action planning. If people want to talk about anything about that, I don't know like what actions different
Electricity is
occupations are up to, or like if we want to talk a little bit about coordinating, or just that's just something we've done on the conference calls. I'm just curious if we want to talk about that. I'm not attached to it,
Never mind.
Just throwing it out there.
So.
Yeah, along those lines, I do think it would be appropriate for us to talk about May 1st potential direct actions, because that's a huge thing that's not just going to be Occupy, and it would be really awesome if Occupy Florida had a coherent thing for.
So, how do we feel about?
Jasmine,
Part of May 1st actions will be covered in the women's thing. So we were discussing some stuff earlier that we wanted to maybe bring to different occupies about that. So we're gonna have like a filler thing, but that is something that is being suggested already.
Then do we maybe want some time to talk? Yeah.
What I would add to that is it would make sense to flow from number 5 to a greater discussion of May Day
So we want to talk about May Day? May Day coordination? Alright.
Mayday,
Sounds-
mayday.
Oh, before
Point of
circle. Yeah, 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 yeah.
clarification.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna ask if we're either moving the 5th down or the 6th up. Just so
I was naturally just gonna move the other one up,
Okay.
but I mean.
Yeah, it didn't matter. Yeah, my brain saw it one direction and then you started thinking another and then I was like, so either way. I'm not attached.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You're not gonna walk?
Little minis, is that mini book?
No. Can't do that. Either you're pregnant or you're not.
I'm gonna suggest with Karen's suggestion that we maybe also add if we want to, or do we all want to also talk about other actions besides May Day that are coming up that might come up, so not just not leave room for anything else.
I guess I just feel like that in the like time that we could discuss and maybe come up with a skeleton of what we want to do for May Day, that would be a really good use of that time, that we'll have like over a month to plan. And that's something that I feel we could all reach for right now, where other things might be sooner, and I don't know.
How much time do you want to allot to that? 20 minutes sound good?
Oh,
15?
It's gonna be a
Oh, we're trying to go up?
No.
I like maybe.
I like
15?
13?
I mean, we're not getting any.
How about 12?
How about 13 and a half?
Is that,
The hell, guys?
I don't got a second before.
This is point of process.
I'd like to suggest 17 minutes for that time.
How do we feel about 17 minutes? Can we agree on 17 minutes? Aye, yes.
Cat?
Point of process.
Could I just ask if the stack paper call on people, not you, so that you're focused on reflecting back on the meeting? Oh, okay, right, you're right.
So I have right now on the agenda. Oh, that's okay. So right now I have report backs for 5 minutes, people plan for 10 minutes, flowers in the hair for 13 minutes, May Day coordination for 17 minutes, and SERCO statement for 2 minutes. Would we like to add anything else? Or would we like to change the agenda? Or anything?
Putting myself on stack, I would like to add at the end appreciation.
It's a double T, wow.
And I have appreciation for you.
Do we want 5 minutes for that? Yeah, not that I'm going to be able to.
Evan?
I was wondering if we put this explicitly on the agenda or not, but do we have announcements and or unagenda speakers at the end?
We do not, all we have is report back.
Okay, well then, I'd like to propose that we put announcements at the end of the agenda.
Would we like to combine appreciation and announcements and just give them 10 minutes? And just do it like that? Okay. So, anything else?
Right now stack is clear.
Do we like the agenda? Would anybody like me to restate it? No, we do? Alright, so I guess we have an agenda. Which is awesome. So, let's do report back. Who attended what today? Who would like to talk about it?
Jasmine?
I attended breakfast this morning,
and it was awesome.
I attended the literature. Oh, and you have another person on staff there. I attended the literature workshop that we got going, and I thought it was really amazing on us starting a good network process for eliminating, the need for, the commercial media system. We're definitely working into a media system where we can share on all sorts of levels, from, actual journaling of events to, like zine and book writing and things like that. The cohesive network of that. And yeah, and they're not only talking about, like, we got a good level of conversation from the very local to the national, and how we really feel that we can go forward in doing that. So it's really awesome.
Jen?
I was the first one to open the circle at the fire this morning for the women's group, followed by Jacko and Kat when she woke up. Our fourth attendee was a man from Occupy Miami who wandered past a sign that said women's group right up to the fire where I was wearing my towel, and told us that we could carry on, gave us permission, and also stated that it was a good thing there were 3 of us there, which I found to be a really disturbing statement. And that man is not in the circle right now, but I do know that he's wandering around the camp somewhere. So I have to say that in checking in, I'm a little bit uncomfortable about that. The rest of the circle was really powerful. A lot of it focused on the conversation of rape and how to prevent it. And I'd like for somebody else to talk about the we're going to talk later about the flowers in your hair, which is related to that, so I don't want to focus on that in check-in. But it was an interesting way to start a circle. And, but I have to say that one of the most beautiful parts of it was when Neil drummed on the drum, as I'd asked him to do, and came in and brought us all to warm up on coffee. And picked up our dirty dishes, and it was absolutely lovely to be so provided for by all the men here, and I'm so grateful for that.
Dave, and then Evan.
Well, first, I just want to say that what Jen just reported about the not-so-good part sounds pretty disturbing, and maybe something that should be dealt with systematically. I don't know how to go about that, but second, to add to what Brando said about the literature group, we basically broke into had 2 discussions. One about news gathering and sort of more news-oriented aspect of things, and another that was sort of more about personal writing, longer form writing, and it's still sort of just the seed of an idea at this point, because it just came to me today, but I've mentioned to a couple of people that I'm considering trying to get together some sort of collection of writings of people's experiences in the Southeast region, information about sort of longer explanations about what's happened over the last 6 months, and then maybe potentially put that together into sort of collection to be put out as a zine or a book or an ebook or all of the above. So just to say, if you have an interest in that as a project, whether to contribute or to participate, please come see me.
Evan and Lars.
Minute and a half.
Yeah, I was going to report back from the ecology-oriented workshop, which was freaking awesome. And my favorite part of it was that we touched on an issue that's been something that's bothered me about Occupy's stance on environmentalism, or Occupy doesn't really have a stance, I guess the opinions one often hears expressed. The potential conflict between the concept of human rights and the concept of that being very anthropocentric, and maybe the planet having rights, maybe other non-human animals having rights, and we got into a pretty good discussion given the time constraints about that, and I think that's something really valuable for everyone to bear in mind, and I just want to thank the guy who's here. It was really, really awesome.
So Brando just said we have
45
1 more
seconds.
minute.
And also, as far as the literature thing goes, if anybody wants a copy of Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, Adobe InDesign, or Adobe Acrobat Professional and has a PC, see me before you leave.
Flash drive. So I just wanted to point out that Brando said there was 1 minute, which is probably
30
less
seconds.
now.
Point of what, the actual
So I actually didn't have a report back, but I am a little distracted by what Jen just reported about this morning, and I'm wondering if we could add 10 minutes at least to the agenda to kind of talk about whether there was any discussion about what people would like to see, what women would like to see as outcome for that, and how, you know, this GA can be supportive.
You want to talk about that next? Like right now?
Yeah.
He was asking for a 10-minute extension.
Yeah,
Oh,
just
to talk about the
I
okay,
can't
the
really
current thing.
focus until we kind of address that.
So add 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Like it?
So does somebody want to get on stack who hasn't spoke? Because it's a lot of the same people talking.
But I just
So
think
I
maybe
wanted
that
have
person
people who
has to come
haven't
here
spoke, if
if
they
he's
want to get
here.
on to kind of jumpstart.
Hey, I'm trying to video.
With that situation, I had just woken up like moments after that happened. It kind of woke me up. And I